Alright guys, I put a mesh of a cube, and let's talk about making a chair, because I want you to add like a chair with the table and the blocks, because now we're starting to think of more of the things around it and creating an environment, and this is kind of cool. I want to show you how to subdivide something, so I'm going to switch it to edit mode, and you need to be on tools, and you have to be in edit mode or you're not going to get these options, and there's something called subdivide. And so if I click the subdivide, okay, but I don't have a face selected, so you got to remember, click the face option. I'm going to right click and I'm going to hit subdivide. Look at what happens, divides it equally into quarters. I'm going to hit subdivide again, and I'm getting more faces on one side, okay? The nice thing about this, I'm going to hit the letter A. So I think about a chair, it has a leg that comes away from, so I'm going to actually create one of the legs. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm in edit mode. I'm going to hit the letter E. If I wanted, I could go ahead and have it on the Z. Let me go ahead and actually, it's the Y. There we go. Y. I hit the letter Y. And then when I pull and stretch, it's only going to extrude from the Y axis. Okay, so I'm going to pull it out a little bit. I'm going to say that's good. And then I'm going to change my view. Okay, I'm going to right click on the next subdivided space to the corner there. I'm going to hit the letter E to extrude. Okay, I'm pretty much sure. Okay, now a lot of times you're going to think, oh, it's close. Okay, but your chair legs are going to be uneven. So this is where you got to like, okay, you might not have this panel open right here, but if you click the little plus, the transform panel opens up. Okay, so you've got to go ahead and click on the one face here. It's the Y if you're at this angle, okay? If you're at a different, your X and Y and Z will be different if it's at a different coordinate, okay? So what you see me doing on the Y, if it's laying on the side and you're doing this, it'll work. But if it's a different X, Y, Z, it's not going to, okay? So I'm going to go, and sometimes you just have to look at your values and go like, well, it makes sense if the other two are the same, but that one's off. That's probably what changed. So I'm going to click, right click on the other one. I'm going to go ahead and paste that in, okay? And then I hit return, and now they're the same. My legs are the same. So I would go in, do the same thing. I could go hit E for extrude. I can click down, and then this is where I'm going to change my value, paste that in, and it's the same. Click this, hit E to extrude, pull. I'm going to put in my new value, paste, and voila, it's a stool, but it kind of looks, you know, blocky, and it doesn't look very good. So now I'm going to go ahead and I might actually click here, and I'm going to go ahead, let's bring it down to make an actual level seat. And once again, we're in Blender unit, so you know, you have to look at it visually in proportion to your table and your blocks. If your chair is way too small or it's gigantic, we're going to be able to tell proportions are off. Okay, and so now I can go back in and say, you know what? I want to subdivide again. And the quick key command for the subdivide, it's probably on that worksheet I gave you. So subdivide, subdivide. Okay, now I'll hold the shift while I select those. And then I'm going to hit E for extrude. Holy moly! Made myself a chair! Okay, so now you could actually play around with it. How can you transform this chair? How can we, you know, can I go ahead and maybe, like this one, I might hit the R for rotate. Can I manipulate this chair to change the direction? Or can I even, like, change the edge? Hit the A key. I want to select the edge here. And can I transform the way this chair looks? I mean, you have, I think a lot of times you're just like, well, I just have the little, you know, and you get stuck with that one tool, but play around with it and start dragging things in. How can you change this into kind of a fancy looking chair? You know, I could go on here and I could change this back to faces. Select. Man, I could subdivide some more. You know, and then I could pull out to make it look like there's some kind of cushion. So this is where I want to, I got to turn it sideways, and I might bring it up a little bit to kind of give it a cushion, or I could hit the E for extrude, give it a little pillow top. Or do I want to inset it in to change up? Ooh, and set it in. And always I have to hit return. I'm going to hit A. There we go. So how can you change and alter this chair? Now, if I want to rotate this, I would go back to object mode, and then I hit the R for rotate. And you can rotate it depending on which axis you want it rotated. If you want it Z, it will rotate it on the Z axis. If you tick X, it will rotate it on the X axis. And that's probably where I want it. So let me go back to X. And then I'm going to hit return. And voila. And then I can bring the chair up. Level. Okay? And this is where you're just really going to have to pay attention and figure out, is it level with the table? And what else could I do? Could I give it a little cushion on top? You know, there's so many different things you could do with this chair. So once you start realizing I'm just using geometric shapes or forms, and I'm pulling and pushing to give them 3 dimensions. And that's how you make a chair.